I've always wanted to be a mom. Thinking back on it, it's all I ever wanted out of my life, really. Not to say that I was one of those little girls who constantly carried around a baby doll or dressed her cat up in doll clothes. It's the idea of the thing. That two people can have so much love for each other that they can't contain it, and it spills out into another little life. A perfect composition and representation of both mom and dad. That to me, even at a young age, was a beautiful and miraculous thing. Somehow by luck, good planning, or just plain old fate, I'm able to be the exception to the modern rule. I met a man who wants all of the same things out of life that I do, fall deeply in love, and we become happily married. My husband Dan and I try for years to have children. There are a few heartbreaking periods of buying baby clothes that never get used due to early pregnancies that just didn't pan out. However, in 3 years' time, I'm a good ways pregnant with a baby. A boy. They can tell he's a character from the sonograms, his little mouth always moving. This one's gonna be a talker, the tech told us once. He kicked the wand in response. My little man, we're so happy and thankful. All is right in our little world. Nolan is born without a problem. He's a whole 8 pounds and 7 ounces, screaming for his mother. Okay, so he has tongue tie that made his cries produce a ma sound, but still, I know he knows what he's saying. He loves me and I love him instantaneously. His first years are so much fun. First steps, words, and there never seemed to be an end to those as predicted. His endless Hot Wheel car collection, figuring out favorite foods and colors together, he likes orange the best. Everything was what I've wanted out of parenthood. The good and the tired. And I do get very tired, as all new parents do. Sleep be damned, though, once I see those eyes. And besides, Dan works real hard so I can stay home with our little one. I love every second that I get to have with him, and if need be, I can nap when he naps. We are so fulfilled that in our 4 years' time, we find ourselves having another baby boy. I just know that Nolan will be a good big brother. He'll have a little friend forever. Of course, I'm right, too. I know my boy. He's a wonderful brother. We constantly have to tell him to stop peeking and leaning over the crib so the baby can sleep. He loves to make faces to him and then make him laugh. I just want to see him, Mama. He's so cute. The cutest I've ever seen. 2 boys is wonderful, but I can't believe how much time gets taken away from Nolan. My Nolan. The firstborn. The carbon copy of my good traits and the attitude to match. I can tell even though he was 4, he notices it. He takes it in stride though. Never gets angry or frustrated with his brother for being an attention sponge. It's important to still spend quality, independent time with your children. They always need you. So I decided to amp up our alone time. Go out with Nolan on mommy trips. Go out on Nolan and mama trips. Leave the baby with daddy. Dan's a terrific father. The best I've seen in all my life apart from my grandfather. I know any and all time spent with the baby and his dad will only be beneficial to both parties. And of course, then I'll get Nolan time. It's this thought process that leads us to the flea market one Saturday morning. Nolan's favorite place. He loves going to places with me. He will always make me get fresh pork rinds, even though we both knew they're still too spicy for him. He'll lick the dust off and then hold the piece out in pinched fingers as if it's a dirty banana peel. Too spicy, Mama. Don't like it. He says it every time. The regular pork rind exchange is taking place while we pass by a new stall. It's full of little figurines and Pokemon. There's rows upon rows of Star Wars Lego men. Any person you can think of, they have a character for. His eyes light up when he sees Darth Vader, and he reaches for it, knocking over a B-Wing fighter Lego ship. It breaks into pieces as soon as it hits the concrete floor. The stall owner is deep in conversation with another customer, but shoots me a death glare that compels me to instantly bend down and pick up the pieces of the mess that my little guy made. People are serious about their Star Wars. I pick up the last few pieces and put them back on the table. I mouth the "so sorry" to the owner and gesture that I've put all the pieces on a pile on the left of the table. Then I have a thought. Nolan is starting school in the fall, and this would be a good example of how to use manners and take responsibility for his actions with an apology. Kids will be kids, of course, but I think the gesture of a child's apology would soften the man a little bit. I turn around to grab his hand and to bring him to the owner, but he isn't there. Frantically, my eyes dart back and forth over the rows of stalls. I check the neighboring stall, calling his name. I'm not in a full panic just yet, but I'm getting there quickly. My eyes sting as tears threaten to invade, my throat dry and with a golf ball-sized lump in it. Where's Nolan? He was right here a second ago. What could have happened in the 2 minutes I was picking up these pieces to where I can't see him anywhere near me? Did someone take my little boy? My mind is racing, and I want to yell his name at the top of my lungs. People will look, sure. That's great. That means more attention to help find him. I drew a breath in to scream, and I see 2 little Velcro shoes under the wall of the stall running by. They look just like Nolan's. I turn the corner and cannot tell you the amount of relief I feel as I saw my Nolan. He runs up to me, almost breathless, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Mommy, there's a cute doggy over there. Here, come look. I got to pet it. This is new. I was always Mama before, never Mommy. My little guy's getting older, I guess. I think sadly. He wriggles and bounces with glee. I take his hand and follow him, all the while telling him how scared he made me and how he shouldn't run off like that again. How the nice thing to do would have been to help me pick up the pieces instead of giving Mama a heart attack. He suddenly comes to a stop and gets a confused look on his cute little face. He's not here anymore, Mama. Maybe the dog runned it away. I giggled. I secretly love it when he still says words wrong. I'm so happy that he was okay, and I would have got him a puppy myself right then and there, if there was a small pet stall. Luckily for my husband, there isn't, and I don't. I don't think a surprise new puppy would go over real well with the new baby and all. Dan eventually would have understood, though. Dan's a very understanding person. We arrive home, safely. I get him settled and changed for dinner. I'm emptying noodles into the boiling water when he runs into the kitchen. Mommy, I'm so hungry. I need dinner. What's that? I tell him it's his favorite, macaroni and cheese. He turns his perfect nose up and says, No. What are you cooking for you and Daddy? He knows that I always make 2 different meals a night. One for him and one for Dan and myself. Nolan normally hates any meat that isn't in nugget form. Chicken fried steak. Now back up, I don't want you to get splattered. I tell him gently but sternly, to let him know that I meant business. He sniffs the air hungrily before doing what I ask him to do. Mommy, that smells good. I want the chicken, he says with big eyes, still on top of the stove. Again giggling, I say, honey bun. That's beef, not chicken. It's just fried like chicken. And, I don't know, you hate meat. Every time you say you want to try something that contains meat, it ends badly. I give Dan a, what do you want me to do here, look, and he smiles and fixes him a plate of the steak, cut up into tiny Nolan-approved sized pieces. I hold my breath, waiting for him to finish the first bite. He loves it. The plate's empty in a flash, and he's immediately at the stove to see how much is left. Mommy, that was so good, but I'm still hungry, so hungry. I place down a plate of strawberries with a cheese stick for him to eat. For her big growing boy. To my dismay, he sniffs the plate and turns his nose up in disgust. Yuck! This is gross, I don't want it. I'm hungry. He's starting to whine, and the tips of his ears are starting to turn red, a sure sign that he's about to start a crying tantrum. I want more chicken! The baby starts wailing in his room and Dan is leaving for work, so I take my piece and cut it up for him. He was acting strange. Maybe he's getting sick. There were a lot of people with a lot of different things going on in their bodies at that flea market today. I really hope he didn't pick a bug up today. Better now than when school starts, though. I think. I hope his newfound love of meat is here to stay, though. It'd be so much easier having him eat what we eat instead of always making extra meals. Meat is good for you. It makes your body strong. He comes from a long line of meat and potato men. Hopefully this is the start of new eating habits. That night, Nolan turns off his bedtime TV show, abandoning his routine of begging me to stay up for just 5 more minutes. Nolan's stuffed bear is tossed to the floor instead of tightly clutched in his arm. He's convinced that his bear protects the realm of Nolan's room. I told him this much when he got it as a gift. In his world of cars and more cars, he was puzzled to unwrap a funny little gray bear with a huge top and bottom teeth. It quickly became his guardian, king of the teddies. He never does anything in his room without him, but now he's tossed aside like he doesn't hold any significance at all. I say goodnight and he tells me again that he's hungry. I tell him I'll feed him a big breakfast tomorrow. Strange, I think. If this day has shown me anything, it's that little Nolan is getting older, and older means changing. I darken his room and leave the hall light on, with his door open like every night. I then check the baby in his room, at the end of the hall, turning the monitor on before leaving the room. It's been a day, and I'm so tired that I leave the cluttered floors and dirty dishes to be tomorrow's problem. I lay on the bed with the TV on, but muted, so I can hear if the boys wake up. With all of the excitement and events of today, I must have been more tired than I realized. I woke with my face mushed against my pillow, an island of drool already formed at the corner. I get up to pee and check the time. Dan will be home in 2 hours. I get back in bed to enjoy some more sleep, a warm groove already in place from my previous nap. I roll over and close my eyes. I'm just about asleep when I hear a squelching sound. I can't quite place it, but it's coming from what appears to be the monitor. I grunt and get myself out of my comfy groove in the bed. I should check to see if the baby's okay. He's probably kicking one of his tissue papery sounding toys in his sleep. Nolan's room is on the way to the baby, so I poke my head in to check because I just can't resist seeing his peaceful, sleeping face. He isn't in bed. The bathroom light is off and the door's open. I know he hasn't gotten up to use the bathroom. I try to swallow my annoyance when I realize he must be in the baby's room trying to play with him. The squelching sounds grow louder and closer as I get to his room. I approach and sure enough, there is Nolan's little butt poking up as he stands on his tiptoes bent over the crib. Such a wonderful big brother, always wanting to play. I'm about to gently scold him and send him back to bed when he turns and sees me standing there. There's something wrong with his face. It looks dark. Wet? There's a tinge of copper smell to the room, and before my mind accepts it, my gut already tells me what I'm seeing. The squelching sounds grew almost unbearable with every chew Nolan takes. "Mommy, I was so hungry," Nolan says with a full mouth. I fight the urge to pass out, stifle a scream, and back away from him. "Oh my God, baby, why? Why? He's just a baby. I don't understand. Jesus, why, Nolan?" The room is swirling and my body feels like ice. My only fear in life is losing my family, my children, my Nolan. I want to run, to vomit, to scream, and shake him until his neck pops. How could this have happened? His brother's only 5 months old, my infant son, our little boy, who's just barely gotten a taste of life. Nolan stops for a moment and smiles at me with a giggle. "I love you, Mommy." I can never resist that face. That little wet red, smiling face. He's a bloody mess. Sinew hanging from his little teeth. I don't see that, though. I see his first smile as a baby. I see the way he looks up at me while he gives me hugs, the joy on his face when he learns something new. He walks toward me and I see my little Nolan running on the beach trying to keep up with the seagulls. There's only one thing I can think of to do. I know now that the child I brought home cannot be my son. My Nolan was somewhere else, far away. I know there's only one way I can get back to him, to be with both of my sons. I kneel down and hug him to me, stroking his hair and kissing his blood-stained cheeks. "Mommy, I'm hungry. I'm still so hungry." He throws his arms around me and snuggles in. I'm ready to be with my boys. All I ever wanted to do was be a mother. I close my eyes, back up a step, and pull my hair out of the way to offer him my neck. "Here you go, baby. Mama never wants you to go hungry." Dan will be home soon. I'm sure in time he'll understand what I had to do. Dan's a very understanding person. Ghouls! I hope you enjoyed this story. It actually came into my inbox now that my fucking Facebook kind of works again. So, yeah, you gotta look up this writer. I have all her stuff in the description below so you can look it up. She has a bunch of really good Reddit scary stories. She sent me like 3 of them, and I love all of them. So look forward for more stories written by her because they are literally amazing. So I'm going to use your pen name Bunny. And thank you so much because they are so interesting and they are so fun to narrate. And just thanks for reaching out and letting me be able to narrate and bring your stories to life. But as always, ghouls, the last video will be on the top left. The next video will be on the bottom left. All my social medias are on the screen as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.